I actually didn't know that I had been trafficked until I was told by another girl I was working with in porn that what had happened to me was sex trafficking. I actually grew up just up the street from here. I grew up in Ventura, California. My mom was really young when she had me, and she wasn't ready to prioritize me. My mom was in an extremely dysfunctional place in her life, and I experienced a lot of sexual abuse by one of her boyfriends, starting at about 4 years old. And so I took that understanding of this is the affection that I'm offered, and you don't have a say in what is going to happen to your body. You don't have a say in what kind of affection you're going to allow. At about 13, I would go on MySpace and I would just look for any sort of validation that I could find from men. And as I did that, I met a guy who was about 14 years older than me, so he was in his late 20s at the time, and we met over social media. So it wasn't very long, by the time I was 14, that he had explained to me, really, that in order to continue to be with him and continue to get this validation that I was so desperately looking for, I was going to need to start pulling my own weight. It started just with a conversation of, hey, I can't pay this bill, or I can't do this thing or buy this thing that you have wanted without your help. And so I'm gonna have a friend, and you're gonna have sex with this friend for me, and then we'll go do whatever it was that you wanted to go do. So in these times where I would run away from the house that I lived in with my grandma, and I would run to go be with him, this is where, this area is where I would wait, and I would come sometimes, most of the time in the middle of the nights, and I would wait on this bridge, or even just actually right here where I could see this parking lot and know that he was going to wait for his truck to pull up so that we could go off together, and I could go into these motels where we would meet these men. And when I was 18, things in that relationship definitely started to shift. But at this point, he told me that now that I was 18, he was just going to drop me off at the strip club, and then I was going to bring him money, whatever money I came back with. And when I was 20, I met a customer in the strip club who told me that I would be perfect at modeling. He said, "You're beautiful. I don't know why you're coming here and having to work until 4 o'clock in the morning. You should take my number, call my girlfriend, and we'll get you hooked up with some modeling gigs." But when I called this girl, she pretty clearly explained to me that it wasn't modeling at all, and what I'd be asked to do would be porn. And so I went and I met with them, and they had me sign a contract, and they explained to me, anytime that you ever feel uncomfortable, you call us, and you don't ever have to go to that shoot. We will be there to pick you up. You don't ever have to do any sort of shoots that you're not comfortable with, and what kind of shoot you're going to be doing, what the expectations are, and what kind of sexual acts you'll be performing. So this really seemed like an opportunity to rewrite the trauma that I had been going through for the 20 years before then. My first shoot was down in Santa Monica. I was supposed to be a solo shoot, which what that means is you're there by yourself and you're the only talent there. It's not with another girl or with a guy, it's just you by yourself. And from the moment I walked in, I felt uncomfortable. And from right away, I called my manager to tell them I was uncomfortable. And instead of the supportive producer and the supportive manager that I had experienced when I was signing my contract, I got told that I was being difficult, and that if I was going to continue to make money in this industry, that I was going to have to learn how to behave. So it was made pretty clear that this was not, nobody was going to have my back. What I realized when I entered into the adult commercial sex industry was that what had happened to me was not an isolated incident. This was pretty typical among most of the girls that I had, that I was working alongside. They almost all had the same sort of childhood sexual abuse that I had went through, and many of them had had the same teenage years of sex trafficking that I had experienced as well. So in my last 6 months in the industry, I was in this relationship with this guy who was booking all of my performances, all of my shoots, all of my dates outside of these shoots, and I had zero say-so. Oftentimes I didn't even know that I was going to a shoot. And there was one night that I was picked up, and I refused. I refused to go. And his reaction to that was to take my phone, to take my shoes, and drop me off in this area of Southern California that was just agricultural. And so there I was in the middle of the night with workout shorts and a sports bra, no shoes, no phone, no money, no purse, just really left by myself. And it was there that I really made the choice of I can go back without that wool over my eyes and with total clarity of what I was getting into in the industry. Or I could commit suicide, or I could do the one thing that I had watched one girl do when she was able to actually get out and get out successfully. And so in my mind, I was like, the industry will always be there, suicide will always be there, and this is my one chance. And so I called a woman who I knew her and knew what she had done, and they offered to place me in this restorative care program for women who were leaving human trafficking and sexual exploitation, whether that be massage parlors, strip clubs, porn, prostitution. It was a recovery home for that kind of hurt. And so I spent a year in this restorative care program for women like me, for women who were leaving and who wanted a different life. I feel like at this point, while I would love to take back some of the things that happened to me and some of the choices that I made because of the way they hurt me or the way that they hurt other people, there isn't one piece of my story that has been unique to me. Every single piece of my story, I've been able to talk to another girl and go, I get that, I understand that, and I've walked that, and you're not alone. The only way that I was able to get out was by looking at the hope of someone else who had been able to get out. So it was important to me that I was going to be a piece of that hope for the next girl and the next girl and the next girl. And so now I've had the opportunity of mentoring and working with all of these girls who are anywhere from 12 to their early 20s. That has brought more healing than all of the therapy that I've done to get to where I am, than everything that I've walked through, is just the knowledge of we're not in this by ourselves, and there was somebody who came before us, and there's somebody who's going to come after this. That shared pain, but then when it's coupled with that shared healing, that's where you get the full picture.